Enjoyed your trip around Castlecombe, seeing everything from the big tractor down to the little unit horse built by Lee Francis there. It's been a good variety, a good day, good weather. Come along sometime and have a look at all those tractors. Sure you'll enjoy it. Well, I'm Jerry Burr. I'm down on Mike Lawrence's estate near High Bridge in Somerset. We're going to show you around now to some of the equipment he's got here. Old vehicles of this era, way beyond redemption I would say, but you never know. We're also going to look at some very interesting old-time harvesting. As well as agriculture, our host for the day, Mike Lawrence, has been into the heavy haulage business. Now he's got a real gem of heavy haulage here. This is, I reckon, the oldest heavy haulage trailer in existence. Once belonged to that great firm Winds of Cardiff. Now when you see the heavy stuff going around on the roads today and compare it with this, it really is an education. Look at the size of the castings of those wheels. No brakes anywhere, just four wheels, a good tough chassis. And I understand when they refurbished this, the only place they could get the wood for the pole center of this one was from France. But here she is, a fine example of some very early heavy haulage. Here we have, undergoing restoration by Ross Lawrence, the son of Mike, an old 1912 era Allen living van. Not your touring van for your holidays, but this one was actually used with a group of chaps who went around with their steam engines doing ploughing. Similar vans were used by the road roller drivers, etc. Just a plain simple van with living accommodation, a stove inside, drawn along on solid wheels there. A rather simple way of life, but an essential way of life for these people who are away from home for many days at a time. Sometimes their wives traveled with them, sometimes not. And occasionally I remember the days with the old roller vans when you would see a bike on the back, so at least the driver could pop home and see her occasionally. Well, now we're up what might be known as the tip end of the exhibition now. And the strange thing I'm just thinking about, I can look across the field there and see the motorway with all the modern stuff going, and just a field away, here we have these old relics. What have we got amongst this Aladdin's cave, as we could call it?
Well, this is what they term in the vintage world as in need of restoration.
Very much.
You have in the corner there a class. It was a baler of a sort. It only made a very, very loose sort of a bale. The continental people seem to like that way of conserving.
So that's continental.
It's a German machine made by Claas, and it just virtually gathered the grass up in and put some string round it.
Yeah.
It didn't really compress it seriously. No. There's the relics there of an old reaper and binder.
It's a Fordson Major.
Relics of a Fordson Major of the sort of 50s.
50s, yeah. Chicken houses.
A couple of chicken houses.
Another one of these.
Machine made by Jones. That is a Jones Tedder, which was a very, very popular machine. I sold quite a few of those in the early 60s.
Well, somebody one day will get the wire brush out and a tin of paint.
It may well be. It's not gone too far.
But come to that, it's quite artistic to see it how it is now. I'm sure there's lots of people who will sit here and make a lovely painting of that.
I love looking at people's junk heaps.
Well, we've certainly got a good, sort of ringside view today, we put it then.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on.
Thank you.
We now have a miniature, and don't let's hear anybody call these models. They are miniatures because they are every nut and bolt as the original. Lou Lewis here bought this one and finished rebuilding it. It's a 4.5-inch scale Burrell.
Yeah.
Burrell, the famous old Charles Burrell of Thetford in Norfolk. How long have you had it then, Lou?
About 3-4 years, and I bought it sort of partly finished, and there's still a few bits and pieces to do on it, but it's one of those things you gradually get round to, you know. But I had to make all the bits and pieces, the odds and ends like valves, you know, the governor and bits and pieces.
And as I said, they're every bit nut and bolt as the original, and of course there's a lot of power there.
Yes, he'll pull roughly in the region of 4 ton. Roughly.
That's a lot for a little girl like that, isn't it?
It is, yeah. If I can get the grip, he'll certainly pull it.
What Burrow is she modelled on?
It's 1895,
Yeah.
round front axle type.
Ah, yes, I
the
see.
later ones have got square axles. In fact,
yeah.
most of the ones you see have got square
Yeah,
axles.
I haven't noticed that. 1895 what? An 8? An 8 horse?
It's a 6 horse.
6 horse?
Yeah,
That's a single?
yeah, single, yeah.
Yeah. Nothing barked better than a Burrow single, did it?
No, that's
That
right, yeah.
Lovely characteristic bark to them.
Yeah.
So, how long did it take to fire up this to get it going?
About 3/4 of an hour from
That's not
cold.
bad. It's not bad, yeah. You have a put a blower on there?
Oh yes. Yeah.
You have to for a
yeah.
smaller model like this, don't you? Then you keep her going all day and keep her
Oh
quite
yes,
happy.
he'll go all day on a bag of coal. You know.
That's some cheap running nowadays.
It
isn't
is, yeah.
Anyway,
it is.
Lou, thanks for your chat and thanks for your interest, and we should see you at one of the rallies
Oh
shortly,
yes, yes. yeah.
hopefully. Bye for now then.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
again.
Thank you.
Well, somebody else has decided to come and join us today and brought along this beautiful exhibit. Another example of what we've seen so much of today, old cars converted into commercial vehicles. Mainly these would have been used for farm use, although I have seen them used by furniture dealers and coal men in the past. This is an old 1927 Austin, typical of the old cars of that era. Would have had a big saloon body on there, going right the way back with about 6 seats in. A lot of these were used for taxi purposes. A simple old 4-cylinder side valve engine, but they had something the modern cars didn't have or don't have. That was a good stout chassis. Therefore you could chop the body off where you wanted to. It would stay in one piece instead of fold up, and you could build a little lorry body on the back. Now this must have given somebody a lot of use during its life, and now it's restored to bring to such shows as this today. A lovely example. Well, here's something that takes me back to I suppose, the happiest days of my life, that of lorry driving. Back in the 50s, here we have the Q Dodge. Dodge Motors, an American firm, also produced a Q in Great Britain. This famous model was known as the parrot-nosed Dodge, and you can see why. At this time, Dodge were still using their 6-cylinder side valve engine. Some of them had Perkins P6 and R6 in them with different gearboxes, 4-speed and 5-speed. But this particular model was produced with the Briggs cab. Now this same cab and similar bonnet was not only used on the Dodge here, but also used on the Leyland Comet and the Thames 4D. Slight alterations in shape here, but this is a time when a lot of lorry firms were buying in components and using common components. There she is, the famous parrot-nosed Dodge. A little bit more fascinating junk here. The old advanced diesel roller. These go back into the sort of late 40s and 50s because small diesel rollers like this were much more popular and useful than the steam rollers. Most of the steam rollers had a disadvantage with the rolling tarmac, because you have to reverse the steam roller, which meant reversing the whole steam mechanism. Therefore, there was a dwell between forward and reverse in which the roller would sink into the tarmac. With these modern diesels, they could just whack them from forward to reverse very quickly and did away with that dwell time. And here's a typical example of one of those old rollers, and there she lies, wrapped up in leaves and stinging nettles. Well, another make of tractor we became familiar with during World War II was, of course, the Alice Chalmers. They sent over those little lightweight jobs that we were very doubtful about the toughness of them, but turned out to be a very good firm. But what's this particular model?
This is the Model A,
Yeah.
which was a very big engine in the back end of an Alice U, which was their sort of Fordson standard equivalent of.
Yeah.
And this was a very expensive tractor to buy and was generally only operated by thrashing contractors because it was too big for
pulling big machinery around and be not just an ordinary farm tractor.
No.
But we never imagined things that big on a farm in those days,
No.
did we?
Again, this is of similar but even bigger power than the the International W9 and the Case LA.
Yeah.
But even this was a bit bigger than that.
That's a big 4-cylinder motor in there,
Oh,
isn't
it's
it?
a big brute.
And this is the same model?
Same model, yeah. I don't very often see two together.
No. That's the beauty of a day like today, is coming across the rarities. Well, this is a rare beast. Certainly, as far as I'm concerned, you've come across them before, obviously, the Turner.
I've known them. They've been in this area for quite a long time. Kellens of Cannington actually tried marketing them very hard with not a great deal of success because they were so expensive.
Yeah.
But this came in the early 50s and was a V4 variation on of a diesel engine, which was unusual, and farmers do not accept anything different.
Nothing different, no.
But
you can see the construction is a beautifully built thing, isn't it?
it's nicely engineered, but it didn't have a great success story. Unfortunately, the one customer of mine that had one spent more on it in repairs in the second year than it cost.
It was a good idea at the time.
It was a good idea at the
So that's the Turner, and I see they advertise themselves as the Yeoman of England.
The Yeoman of England.
Now, what about this little job then?
Well, this is the International Harvester Co, McCormick, whatever you like to call it. This is the W4, which was the baby compared to the W9 which we saw just now.
Yeah.
This was a very popular tractor on farms in this area. It was nice and easy to use, much faster on the road than a standard Fordson, much more nippy, more economic on fuel. It had independent brakes, belt pulley and power takeoff.
Much more advanced. Of course, America were really into tractors a long time before us, weren't they? And I shall never forget our local farmer when he turned up with one of these. Some of them thought, that's not going to last long on a farm, but didn't they do a grand job?
They were wonderful little things. They compared to a horse, you see, it would work all day, it didn't get tired.
No.
And also, it was adequate power for most people.
It's amazing the power. There's only a 4-cylinder petrol engine in them. The Alley Chalmers, we always called them there. What model is this?
This is a Model B.
That is the B, yeah. The very popular B.
They were, in fact, originally brought in from America, and then this will be one that was actually assembled at Totton near Southampton.
Oh, is that where they assembled them, down there?
Yep. And they
Of course, a lot of them would have been lost on the way over during the war, obviously, with the merchant ships.
As time moved on, a lot of the parts were made here in this country.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the engine was still from America.
Imported.
But this was more in vogue after the war than it was during the war. It was during the war we lost a lot at sea.
Could have done.
I'm always thinking I'd like to get down and pull some of them up.
It's there to be recovered. Well, we're back to the old traders again. This is a typical site, isn't it? A few years ago, just a typical farm trader. Probably something he put up, made from an old horse-drawn too, or whatever.
That would have been a cart that would have been in use every day of the year on most farms.
Yeah.
You could put low sides on it and haul dung with it. You could haul hay with it. You could haul corn with it.
Put his milk churns up on the back and take down to the gate, because everything was picked up insurance in those days.
That would do it.
they certainly got their money's worth. And you also saw a wonderful range. I know I can't recognise the wheels on there, but I love going around some of these old farms trying to recognise the particular, some old American car pre-war wheels.
I think this is a bit later than that, because that was a trailer that was probably built by Lamperts here in Somerton.
Oh, was it?
Yes, I think
what?
so. Well, it looks like a Lampert, or else it's a Keen. I don't know which it is, but
Well,
it's
you're the expert.
fairly popular on local farms.